Hello everyone, this is your support video for week 6. Oh, there we
Hello.
go. And we're both here. So yesterday we went through and we listened to Dr. Alfredo Artiles and heard a lot of wonderful things from him talking about disability, culture, and language and the intersection of all of those within the general education and special education classes. Just in conversation with him, he really is excited about the program that you all are going through, where there is some co-teaching going on. There is the inclusive practices being highlighted, the culture, the responsive practices being highlighted. And so I was very excited to be a part of this and be part of your journey. So
Yes, thank you so much. You guys have been working really hard.
you want to do this one?
Sure. So culturally responsive assessment. You want to make sure that you are looking at the differences culturally and possibly linguistically without putting a bias on it or not following the assessment rules and then maybe over identifying or marking things wrong that aren't wrong. It's important to look at the protocols, and a lot of times they have tips for different dialects, such as African American dialect or ELL learners. So there's an article for you guys to read. I know that a lot of my students were still going to be getting to it this weekend. It discusses poor teacher judgment, lack of cultural awareness, and basically how that will cause a lot of over-identification. And this goes along with what Dr. Attilas was saying the research has shown. So you do want to tell in your critical reflection, you'll tell 2 main points of the article, and also what you'll do to ensure that
Sounds like you actually are cutting out. So,
it's responsive.
oh, sorry, you just cut out.
Discussed it yesterday.
You just cut out for a second, but just to kind of summarize, just making sure that you're talking about the main points and then how you'll ensure that you're culturally responsive, especially through assessment. And our recommendation is that you try to integrate something that you'll also learn from Dr. Artiles in your response, and then also no more than a paragraph. So really be concise with your response. So, okay, the next one was the Easy CBM assessment, and we've had a lot of questions about subtests and what that means. So each one of these are different topics, and then so they could be considered subtests. So in math, there's a lot of different subtests that you could assess your students with. So one subtest would be looking at numbers and operations, another one, numbers, operations, and algebra, geometry, measurements. So you can see that there is all these different subtests. And then when you click on the type of subtest that you're looking for, they also have it by grade, or maybe you choose grade and then they tell you which subtests they are. But this slide is really to show you that there's a lot of options. So when we're asking for 10, then we're asking for some sort of combination between all of these different ones. And then, you know, in the Brigance, there's hundreds of subtests. So you're just going to pick 10 that will help you understand your student even more. So if you have any questions about that, you know, we did put it on the link for the survey. So, you know, that's there, but just make sure that if you have any questions, to please email and ask us, and also make sure that it's in your survey. So yesterday we did a little bit of the Woodcock-Johnson training kits, using the training kits, and so I know we got through the assessment in my classes, and then you guys will be working on that. As everybody's checked out the test kits, it was a little bit harder to be in both classes getting that done. So we do apologize for not thinking about that a little bit sooner and making sure that everybody brought the test cases back to class. So you want to do the critical reflection?
Yeah, so for the critical reflection this week, we, number one is we did send a form out via email, but we wanted you to complete in regards to the Woodcock-Johnson and what you have administered in it and where you're at on that, so we could see if anyone needs assistance. So you could click the link in the PowerPoint, it'll take you to the questions that we're asking. It's just about which subtest you finished and how it's going. That's worth 1 point on your critical reflection. Also, you're going to complete the IRIS model, and you just click on that link. It's like a little video that will be talking about curriculum-based, there you go, curriculum-based measures. And you'll have a couple questions that will go along with that. So it's a 2-minute and 22-second module. It goes pretty quickly.
No. This one, that's just the video. The module actually is a bit longer than that. These are just a video to kind of go through the questions to get you started. And then the actual module part, it has these 9 pages. So the first page telling you what objectives and standards that this module meets, and then it kind of dives into, what's the difference between year-end and progress monitoring, so summative and formative. I recommend listening to these little videos that they have or audios that they have by the different professionals in the field. They talk about mastery measurement and curriculum-based measurement, and then how you can do that. And then they go through and they talk about the 6 steps of the CBM, and then how you can take these probes. So some of the words that we'll use in class, like probes, come from this module. And you can see it just goes all the way through. After the credits, you'll see that there's a wrap-up. So they go through, and here's another short video just kind of wrapping up and then revisiting those initial questions, which these are questions to think about. You don't have to write anything down. And then they have an assessment. We're not asking you to do the assessment. Instead, we're asking you to answer these 2 questions. Sorry, there we go. So,
no, great, thank you. And also, a lot of people in my class, I don't know about yours, were asking about the difference again between criteria reference and curriculum based measures, and that module and the information there will clear it up and explain a lot of it for you guys. So I really recommend doing this. And then so you'll answer A and B. A is worth 1 point. What are the 6 steps of CBM? And B, how can you use them in your assessment of your case study student? Hint in the criterion reference assessment and or the work samples. And that part is worth 2 points. Number 3, culturally responsive assessment reflection. You can use information from Dr. Artili's talk or from the talks we've had in class to answer the question, as well as the article. And so you're going to answer what the main point of the article was for 1 point, and what you will do to ensure you're culturally responsive. That's 2 points. Finally, you're going to write a 2-paragraph summary and reflection about the presentation yesterday by Dr. Artiles, and that is worth 3 points. And that will finish up your critical reflection.
And then, as some people had requested, they wanted some more things that they could say during testing. So this is just some statements of ways that you can give some feedback and interact with the student, but you're not actually giving any judgment on their ability. So I like how calm you're staying during the test. I heard you say how you feel. That's great. You've been working really hard. Can you keep going for a few more problems, pages, minutes, whatever it is? So there's a lot of things that you can do there.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're gonna.
Oh, go for it.
Okay, so Dr. Alfredo Artiles had the slide and talked about complex views of learning and curriculum, and that it goes beyond just an isolated reading skill. There are many things that could be looked at such as dimensions of the curriculum, the student's identity, and hidden curriculum. So looking also at the rules of linguistics and socially how they're affected by the learning disability or learning difference, or if it's an ELL, could really affect how they're going to perform and how they'll do in the classroom. And that could be one of the reasons why they're falling behind. So it's important to look at that and look at the correct interventions for ELL subgroups. And is there anything I forgot in that one?
No, just that, if hopefully you took some notes yesterday and you can really summarize some of the big pieces that he gave to us. And we've got at least one slide here for you. So for the reading, we are doing the Overton Chapter 9, which is the assessment of behavior. This is a really important thing as far as looking at the student holistically. They give some great recommendations, and then they also go over some of the assessments that you will be asked to do as a teacher. So make sure that you are up to speed on this, because looking at behavior is also part of the holistic examination of a student. Here's a link to an article teaching a class with big ability differences, which is another topic that has been coming up. How do you teach kids at different levels? Critical reflection number 5, and then we have 2 links for some good writing from teachers on what they do to survive testing, and then also motivating students before, during, and after testing.
Okay, so then we are going to offer Woodcock-Johnson training makeup days for you guys on Tuesday, March 19th from 3 to 6. We still got to determine which room we'll be in. And also Wednesday, March 20th from 2 to 5. You can meet at Dr. Jez's office to find out the location. And this is also one, if you've missed any of the training days, February 14th, February 21st, or February 28th, then you could come and complete your training. Or if you just want to practice, and you can come in and practice. Also, this will be hands-on, working with the test.
And this is actually a requirement. Remember, IDEA requires that you're fully trained on the assessment. And so this is your opportunity to ensure that you have followed the federal guidelines and that you are also prepared to be in the classroom administering the full test, because you've gone through and been trained on each one of the sub-tests. One of the things that I also want to say, so if you did miss any of those days, and it's required that you come, but if you were there and you just want that extra practice, we are trying to support you, and so you can come in and we will help you with that as well. So this is an additional 6 hours that we're providing for the training. You can come both days if you'd like to, or you can come for one day, kind of go through whichever test you were missing, and then you can be released as we go through it. Okay? Any other things that you can think of that we need to mention?
No, I think that was it.
Perfect. All right. Well, have a great weekend, and please reach out if you need anything.